are right here in Saskatchewan. RBC describes our province as being off to a rip-roaring start in 2010. Recent headlines in our daily papers declared Saskatchewan job numbers surge and Saskatchewan economy expected to lead. There are tremendous optimism heading into 2010-11, and for pretty good reason. CIBC recently announced that Saskatchewan will lead the country in economic growth this year. In its most recent provincial outlook, RBC is predicting a 3.6% growth rate for Saskatchewan this year, the second highest in the country. The outlook also predicts a 4.6% growth rate for next year, the highest in Canada. In 2009, the number of people working in Saskatchewan increased by nearly 8,000, the only province to post significant job growth last year. In February of this year, the provincial unemployment rate dropped to 4.3%, by far the lowest in Canada. Saskatchewan's population has hit an all-time high, breaking the record set back in 1987. Over the past 2 years, Saskatchewan has grown by nearly 30,000 people, the fastest rate of growth since the early 1950s. So 2009 was a good year in terms of job creation and population growth. Next year promises to even be a better year for our province, our economy, and our people, but we're not taking anything for granted. Our government believes that a strong and growing economy is built on a firm foundation of balanced budgets and fiscal discipline. As we control government spending, our government will be guided by the principles of fairness and fiscal responsibility. We remain vigilant in balancing the needs for restraint with the need to protect important services. Saskatchewan families work hard and live within their means. They expect their government to do the same. Therefore, this budget is about moving beyond the boom and bust cycle that has defined Saskatchewan budgeting. Yes, our resource revenues will always fluctuate from one year to the next, but the new confident Saskatchewan people do not fluctuate. It is unwavering. Everywhere I go, Saskatchewan people are positive about our province's future. They want our government to reflect that confidence, this new positive attitude. This budget moves Saskatchewan away from the notion of boom and bust, making the decisions that need to be made regardless of the current price of oil or potash. This budget prepares Saskatchewan for permanent, steady growth through innovation, through responsible spending, and through new ways of approaching important challenges like surgical wait times and improving efficiencies in the health system. This budget sets the stage for a new approach to delivering government services, an approach that is based on innovation, on measuring performance, and on making government more efficient, rather than simply measuring the amount of money being spent. This budget is balanced, forward-looking, and responsible. With this budget, our government intends to reduce the overall government footprint and strive for a more efficient delivery of public services. Over the last decade, the size of the public service in our province has grown much faster than the rate of growth of Saskatchewan's population. This must change. This is not something unique to Saskatchewan, of course. If you look across the country and around the globe, you'll find other jurisdictions faced with the same challenge. In Saskatchewan, we're already ahead of the curve. Early in the last fiscal year, we began a process to begin finding efficiencies throughout government, including a delay in hiring or simply not filling vacant positions. We went on to examine government programs and services as we developed this budget. The result was that we were able to reduce the size of the public service by about 135 positions with limited job loss. This year we'll begin a 4-year plan to reduce the size of the public service with a goal of reaching a 15% reduction over 4 years. The goal for the first year is 4%. Many of those who retire or move on to other opportunities will not be replaced. We will control this by establishing a centralized review process to ensure that only critical positions will be staffed. In the years ahead, we will continue to improve the way we do business and deliver service. We know that the public service must become smaller more effective and more efficient, and we know it will. This has already begun to happen through the budget process. Last fall, we asked all ministries to develop their budget submissions for this year at 90% of last year's budget. Then, we asked them to rank the remaining 10% of their spending by priority. The result is that 14 ministries came in with real reductions in their budgets, mainly by eliminating programs that are not being well utilized or by making changes to provide improved efficiency. As an example, our government reviewed approximately 350 government agencies, boards, and commissions and discovered that many had outlived their original purpose. This review process resulted in the elimination of 82 different governing bodies, saving $500,000 a year. Our government has also cut the amount spent on government communications and advertising by almost half, from $17 million in 2007-8 to about $8.5 million in 2009-10. These were good first steps, but this budget needed to go further. So this year we have seen other governments increase spending, resulting in multi-billion-dollar deficits. Our government is choosing a different path. Our goal is not simply to slow the growth of government spending. Our goal was to reduce government spending, ensuring a balanced budget today and a spending trajectory that is sustainable tomorrow. I am pleased to announce that we have achieved this goal. Compared to last year, today's budget reduces government spending by $121.3 million, or 1.2%. To get there, some difficult choices had to be made. As the Premier has announced, we will not be able to move forward on the second phase of municipal revenue sharing this year. Revenue sharing will be maintained at $167.4 million, the same record-setting level as last year and 43% higher than when our government took office. Our commitment to revenue sharing equaling 1% of PST will be met in the next fiscal year. Education property tax rates will also remain at the same level as last year, when our government delivered the largest property tax reduction in Saskatchewan history. As ministries work to reduce their budget, they ask many important questions, like are programs delivering the desired result? For example, we had a program in advanced education called work-based training for the unemployed. What we found that it wasn't working very well. Very few participants were getting jobs. So we're winding it up as part of an effort to better match these training programs to the needs of employers in the labor market. A skilled labor force is critical for a growing economy. So we're redirecting these dollars into other training programs that work. In government, we have a tendency to do things the same way we've always done them. Our goal is to change, and we're using the creativity and common sense of our employees to help us. Nobody knows the frustrations and inefficiencies of complicated processes better than the people who deal with them every single day. So it shouldn't come as a surprise if we find better ways to get the job done with their help. Our health ministry is producing some promising results using what's called the lean method of process improvement. Here's an example. It used to take 13 different steps and 67 days to deal with an out-of-province